Welcome everyone to the Inland Sports Show. Before we start the show, make sure you like this video and you've subscribed to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel. And if you're a local business or organization and you'd like to promote yourself on this show, just send us an email, inlandsportsshow@gmail.com. The show starts right now. Garcia's left footage. And what is up, everybody? Welcome to your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show. We are live and amplified at Teen Vision TV 16. My name is Pep Fernandez. We got Johnny Nunez behind the scenes here directing. And we got a big show. We're going to preview Week 10 of the high school football season, kind of examine what the playoff picture looks like for a lot of our local teams, who's already won league championships. And, of course, the brackets will come out this weekend for the CIF Southern Section playoffs. And we can kind of hazard where some of these teams might end up in what division, but we really don't know until we actually see the brackets come out officially. A little bit later in the show, like I said, we're going to break down Week 10. We got Aquinas head football coach Jordan Brusig joining us. We're also going to talk, we're going to hear from Cameron Bynum, former Centennial star, who had a huge game against my 49ers last night. It was painful, but Bynum's a stud, and he's a great person. So we'll hear from Bynum a little bit later in the show as well. But leading things off, these guys are coming off a huge win at 3rd in Chicago this previous week against JW North. We are talking about the Elsinore Tigers. Joining us here, we got head coach Randy Kirschman, a couple of his stud seniors as well. We'll get to them in a moment. But, Coach, you know, last week against JW North, there was a lot on the line, obviously, for 3rd place in the Ivy League. And you guys came up big. What was the message to your team going into that game against JW North, knowing there was so much on the line for you guys?
Yeah, our focus for that game was really to not, sweat the importance of the game, but rather focus on, our program core values. And so our theme was full circle. We were really trying to just break it down and try to put a performance out there that really displayed all of our growth as student athletes in the Elsinore football program.
Now, Coach, I guess you could say the playoffs started for you guys last week against North. It continues this week in a huge game against Temescal Canyon. If you guys beat your rival, the Titans, then you're going to punch your ticket to the playoffs. You don't have to worry about what other teams are doing. So talk about going into another huge game into the final week. And I guess it's just kind of fun playing meaningful games late in the season with a chance to go to the playoffs.
Absolutely. That is your goal. Any football season, you put in all the work and all the effort, and you want to be playing meaningful games. And, for those people who don't know, our rivalry game with our district rivals, Temescal Canyon, it's a very unique, it's a special rivalry, highly competitive. Records are out the window. I mean, we're playing for school pride, and it's really meaningful. So we're just honored and humbled to be able to be part of that.
All right, Coach, I'm going to circle back to you, but let me go to some of your guys as well. And I'm just going to go right down the line. You got Andrew Irvin sitting right next to you. And Andrew, you do a little bit of everything for this Tigers team, like Julian and Caden as well. But when you look at the whole season, Andrew, where has this team really stood out to you? What do you guys do well? What is Elsinore football all about this season?
To be honest, our run game's really where it's at. I mean, our line, they block beautifully. Doesn't matter what type of block it is, they'll get it done. I mean, they'll sprint 50 yards across the field to get a gap open for our boys here. And, yeah, that's really where we excel. I mean, we can also get the ball in the air with Robbie Whitlock. I mean, we have it all here.
Now, Andrew, let's give your dad a shout out because he hits me up on social media. You know, and I have a lot of, listen, I don't share all my DMs because I just not like that. But I have a lot of parents hit me up, and I would say 9 times out of 10, I'll be like, okay, yeah, this player, maybe they're not as great as their mom or dad thinks they are. But your dad is right. You are a stud. So what is your dad's name? And has he always been your biggest fan? What's it like having your dad in your corner, just knowing that, he's supporting and encouraging you?
Yeah, shout out my dad. That's Kai Irvin. Yeah, it's really nice having him to support me. I have a big family, luckily, to support me. I mean, my mom's probably one of my biggest fans of all time. She screams. You could probably hear her from the stands every single game. So it's really nice having that support system for both of them.
That's awesome, Andrew. Let me go down the line in the middle now. Julian Santoyo. And Julian, going back to that game against JW North, you literally did everything out there for the Tigers. Do you think that was the best game you've played in an Elsinore uniform?
So far, yes. I think since that bye week, that our team, I think we got together and we just came out. And we wanted to just show what we can do, and I think we're really starting to get on to that level of where we're gonna start dominating. And I'm really proud of my guys right now because I think we played a full game last Friday.
Julian, this time of the year, I mean, it's late in the season. There's bumps, there's bruises. Guys are getting tired and dinged up, but you've got guys like yourself and some of your teammates that play on both sides of the football. It's Iron Man football. You guys want to be out there for every single snap. What's that like? Just knowing you have the confidence of your coach to be out there on offense and defense and coming up and making big plays in important games like that North game.
It's like not a lot of teams do this. Not a lot of players do it. So it's an experience. Not a lot of like big programs. They got like offense and defensive players. Here, we just got ball players. If you can play, you're going to go in.
All right, and you got Caden Maxfield next to you, Julian. And Caden, that was a big win against North, but that win against North won't mean anything unless you guys take care of business this week against Temescal Canyon. How do you guys stay focused and keep locked in knowing that you're playing a rival, but there's a lot on the line for you guys?
This game's always big every year. It's just the blue team across the lake. There's high energy all week. We're doing stuff at school, pep rallies, and we just know that it's playoff game. It's we win or turn in our pads, and I know none of us on this team want to turn in our pads.
Yeah, it certainly is. Like I said, it feels like you guys started the playoffs last week against North, and now it continues this week just to officially get into the CIF Southern Section playoffs. And Caden, for you and your teammates next to you, you guys are seniors. Like, obviously, you want to go to the playoffs. You want to leave a lasting legacy. Elsinore has a long tradition. What does it mean for you guys as seniors to make sure that this team gets to the playoffs? And who knows, once you get in, depending on the division, maybe you guys do make a run in the CIF playoffs. What would it mean to you guys as seniors?
It would mean the world to us. We grew up with each other. We've been playing ball with each other since we were young, and we just want to take leadership for this team and go all the way.
All right, good stuff there, Caden. Let me go back to Coach Kirschman to wrap this up. And Coach, man, it's been a fun season. You guys have played some good teams. You've got some good wins under your belt. But do you feel like the story has not been written completely for Elsinore, that if you guys can get into the playoffs, who knows? Maybe this team can put together and string together a couple wins and make a run in whatever division you end up in?
Yeah, that's always the goal. At the end of the day, these young men next to me in our program, these guys have fiercely pursued excellence and integrity for the Elsinore Tigers for all these years. And so it's just an honor to coach them. I mean, these guys are true football players. They love the game. And since the day I met them, when they came out for football as freshmen, it's been really special to watch them develop over those years. And so I know we're going to put an effort out on the field Friday night that makes, the Elsinore faithful proud here.
And Coach, finally for you, I know you've been with the program for a while, but taking over the program as the head coach this season, now that you're one win away from, officially going to the playoffs, I mean, what would it mean to you to get this program back to the postseason? And like I said, maybe a deep run as well, but first things first, just getting to the playoffs. What does that mean to you, being an Elsinore guy, to get them to the playoffs?
Yeah, it would mean a lot, but again, around here at Elsinore, we have, program core values. And so for me, the most important thing is to do my best to lead this team, set them up for success and enjoy that experience with them. And, the results don't matter, man. These guys make us proud, in little areas that may not be seen. And so I believe in these guys, and I know they're going to give it a great effort. And if we play a good game, we'll have a good chance to kind of fulfill those big things. So we try not to focus on those big things, right? Stack up the little things so that we can eventually reach that goal up high.
Well, Coach Kirschman, I really appreciate the time. And Andrew, Julian, Caden as well, thank you guys so much. I know it's a big game coming up against Temescal Canyon, and there's a lot on the line for you guys as well. Hopefully you still have a couple more games in front of you, especially as seniors, to put on that Elsinore uniform a couple more times here. So congrats, guys, on a great season so far. Best of luck going forward. And, Coach, thank you for always making time for me. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. Go Tigers. Thank you.
There it is, the Elsinore football team here on the Inland Sports Show. Thank you so much, guys. You can log off Zoom unless you want to watch the rest of the show. That's up to you, but I think you're going back out to practice or something more important than this. So, yeah. They'll catch it later. Appreciate it, guys. Good luck against Temescal Canyon this upcoming week. All right, before we round out this segment, we want to take a look at our Week 9 Inland Sports All-Stars. And, yes, there is an Elsinore Tiger on the list. We'll get to him in just a moment. We got Aquinas running back JoJo Solis, who really popped off against Ontario Christian. 222 on the ground and 3 touchdowns. Mayan Walker from Beaumont, 171 rushing yards on just 9 carries. And 2 touchdowns and a big win for Beaumont. Ronald Weathers for Arroyo Valley, 319 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. He also caught a touchdown in a huge win for the Hawks against Colton to strengthen their case to make the playoffs. Tyler Trout for Hemet High School. He returned an interception for a touchdown. He returned a kickoff for a touchdown, helping Hemet stun Paloma Valley in a huge win for the Bulldogs in Raincross Conference play. Shane Klingelberg from Chaparral. He had a pick, he had a sack, 2 tackles for a loss, 8 tackles in all, in a hard-fought win against Norco for the Pumas. And finally, he was just on the show. Julian Santoyo had the game of his life for Elsinore, 132 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception, and a tackle for a loss. Really Ironman football, all-star there. Both sides of the football. So those are our Week 9 Inland Sports All-Stars. We will do it again next week after week number 10 as we go into the playoffs. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we will hear from Aquinas head football coach Jordan Brusig. That's next on the Inland Sports Show.
And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken.
Coaches, want to know the keys to off-season team speed development? Here we go. Phase 1, early acceleration. This should emphasize short sprinting distances from a variety of positions. Phase 2, near max velocity and the start of change of direction. Here you're going to focus on longer sprinting distances and start to incorporate some change of direction. Phase 3, max velocity and COD. In this phase, we'll focus on max sprinting and some consistent change of direction. Phase 4, speed and agility. This is where we put it all together, make it sports specific, and start incorporating it into every speed session. Boost man.
Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun.
But it just seems like now it's becoming a thing where the Chargers cannot get over the hump, and it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse the more they go here with Staley as head coach.
Yeah, you just nailed it. Brandon Staley, the head coach of the Chargers, definitely on the hot seat. You know, I haven't heard any rumors like a fire is imminent or anything like that, but you have to imagine for Brandon Staley, the clock is ticking on his time. And let's talk some college football over the weekend, Patrick. It was kind of a rough weekend, I would say, for our Pac-12 teams. We got to start with USC losing to Utah and essentially taking their name out of the running for a national championship, or at least the college football playoff at the end of the season. So USC losing to Utah 34-32 on that field goal at the end. Painful loss for the Trojans.
Inland Sports. And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show. We'll talk more high school football in a little bit, and we'll hear from Aquinas head coach Jordan Brusig. But right now, we want to talk about one of our local guys who has made it to the NFL, and man, he did it on a national stage last night. We're talking about Cam Bynum. Great player and great person out of Centennial High School. DB for the Minnesota Vikings. He picked off my guy Brock Purdy. Not once, but twice, and he did the worm as well as the Minnesota Vikings stunned my Niners. And Johnny Nunez's Niners too. 22-17 the final score. Cam Bynum with two huge picks in the fourth quarter to seal the win for Minnesota. There he is, the former Centennial Husky, coming up big time and doing the worm out there. Broke my heart, but man, Cam Bynum, you got to root for the guy. He's such a great person, obviously a great football player as well, coming up with some huge plays on Monday Night Football against the 49ers. Here was Cam Bynum after the win for the Minnesota Vikings, again, talking about the victory and just coming up in the clutch in the fourth quarter when the game mattered the most. Here's Cam Bynum.
It didn't feel real. Honestly, thought I got a illegal contact downfield. I kind of hit the receiver a little, but I jumped a little early, like the play against the Chiefs. And I thought I didn't know if I was going to get up there, but thankfully I was able to get the pick and really shut it down for the whole game and really make it a movie. I keep saying movie, but that's the best ending, and you can't imagine it. I'm just so grateful, and it was a fun game. It's a movie. Obviously, our season isn't going as well as we would like it to, but nothing better than bouncing back from adversity and stacking wins up. And now going into next week, it's the same thing, same process. So that's being able to really respond. That's been the word of the week with our coaches. Whenever we face adversity, we have to respond. So with that early turnover, we were able to turn the ball back over, and that's complementary football. So that's really the message of this whole season. We got to respond to the losses. We got to respond to every negative play and just continue to do our thing.
Man, I am a big fan of Cam Bynum, and he had a huge game last night against my 49ers, but man, glad to see him making big-time plays out there. Again, such a special person, doing so many good things off the football field as well, so congrats to him. Well, Cam's one of our guys from the Inland Empire that plays on the Minnesota Vikings. We also have Troy Dye, who, of course, out of Norco High School, and Alexander Madison, the starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings out of San Bernardino High School. Alex is back with his I Am Gifted Athletes of the Week. He picks one boy and one girl from the city of San Bernardino each week throughout the fall season to recognize them for what they're doing. And it's not just football, any of the fall sports, water polo, cross country, tennis, volleyball, all kinds of stuff, girls flag football as well. So here is Vikings running back Alexander Madison with another 2 winners for his I Am Gifted Athletes of the Week.
Hey, what's up? It's Alexander Madison, running back for the Minnesota Vikings. And this week's female I Am Gifted Athlete of the Week goes to Cajon's cross-country runner, Natalie Gumashian. Currently, she has the fastest time for a 3-mile cross-country race in the city of San Bernardino this season, and it's also the 8th fastest in school history. Natalie is a team captain while also maintaining a 4.53 GPA. Congratulations. And this week's male I Am Gifted Athlete of the Week goes to San Gorgonio football player John Rubio. He had 25 tackles in a big win versus Arroyo Valley for first place in the Skyline League. Rubio is the leading tackler for the Spartans this season with 90 tackles. He also has 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, and an interception. John is doing an amazing job on the field, but also in the classroom, he has a 3.5 GPA. Congratulations.
Alexander Madison, Cam Bynum, 2 great guys, and so good to see them having so much success at the NFL level. All right, we'll take another quick break here on the Inland Sports Show. When we come back, more high school football as we get you all set for week number 10, the final week of the regular season. And we'll be right back on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
Hey, what's up, guys? Look who it is. It's Coach Bass, the Boost Man here at Boost Performance Training. My name is Pep Fernandez. We've got another gridiron question for you guys out there. And Coach, we're continuing the series. We started it last time on some of the worst things parents can do to stunt the growth of the athlete in their lives. And, of course, they don't want to do that. They're not doing it on purpose. We talked about the worst thing you could do on the last episode, so go check out that video. What's the next one, Coach?
Yeah, Pep, it's definitely too much expectation for other people to help their kids. Look, there are a lot of great coaches out there who can bring real value to your kids' athletic development, but you got to understand that only the student athletes can walk the path. You know, they're the ones that have to put the work in, go to class, and perform on the field. You know, it always kills me to see parents who don't empower their kids with the tenacity to get things done. Instead, they accept the idea that someone else can do it for them. You know, and this is far from the truth. And it's not to say that parents shouldn't invest or rely on coaches who can help with their kids' athletic development. You know, parents should try their best to invest in qualities that can be measured, because this removes all ambiguity in terms of what that coach has actually done for their child, and parents can see real growth. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you check in for the next Gridiron, where we talk about what you parents can do to help with your child's athletic development.
And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. Man, we have got a big Week 10 of high school football coming up. Final week of regular season play, and then it's right into the playoffs. Which teams have won league championships? Who's going to make it to the playoffs? There is so much on the line. But before we take a look at the big games coming up in week number 10, let's circle back real quick to week number 9 for our big Boost play of the week. And it was a big one that clinched at least a share of the Skyline League title. San Gorgonio taking on Fontana. The Spartans were trailing in the 4th quarter. They forced the turnover, and here he comes. Number 4, Javen Sawyer, the scoop and the score. San Gorgonio, you can see on the scoreboard, down 21-13 with less than 3 minutes to play. They go for the 2-point conversion, and it's going to be Dylan Carolina. There he is inside the pylon, ties the game at 21, and we are headed to overtime. In OT, Carolina gets the call again. He gets in for the touchdown, 27-21 San G. They would go for the extra point. They did not get it, so it's 27-21. 4th down for Faux High. Steelers with the ball, deflected away. That's it. Game over. San Gorgonio with the big boost. Plays, as in the plural, of the week to clinch in dramatic fashion at least a share of the Skyline League title. What a game there. And congrats to Coach Chris Chaddick and San G back at his alma mater, getting them back to the playoffs and a league championship. All right, so now let's take a look at week 10, and we've got a huge game. We've been waiting for this game literally all season long, and we finally got it. It's our Kin Sporting Goods must-see game. Rancho Verde and Orange Vista. Mustangs are 4-0 in the Ivy League. The Coyotes are 4-0 in the Ivy League. Eric Zomel at Rancho Verde, Greg Zomel at Orange Vista. What's not to love, right? It came down to this game last year for the Ivy League title. This year, same thing, the outright league championship for Rancho Verde and Orange Vista. Zomalt versus Zomalt. And both these teams are going to the playoffs, but who will be the Ivy League champion? It's going to be a big one, and it's the Kin Sporting Goods must-see game. Now, it's also going to be, if you can't make it to the game, on Teen Vision TV 16. Johnny, crank up the fancy graphic. Rancho Verde and Orange Vista going head-to-head on Teen Vision. You can find it on Vimeo. The easiest way, really, is to simply just scan the barcode, the QR code right there on the screen, and it'll take you to the game. Rancho Verde and Orange Vista for the league championship. In fact, there's only a couple true league championship games happening. This is one of them, and you can watch it on Teen Vision TV 16. All right, let's take a look at the other games in week number 10. We told you there's 2 true league championship games in the Inland Sports Show coverage area. Rancho Verde and Orange Vista, that's one of them. The other true league championship game is at the bottom right there. Kaiser versus Rim of the World in the San Andreas League. Winner take all. Cats and Scots, whoever wins that game will be the outright San Andreas League champion. All right, cycle back to the top. Murrieta Valley versus Vista Murrieta. That's basically for a playoff spot right there in the Big West Upper. Also Roosevelt and Chaparral in the Big West Upper. So much still to play for. Centennial's going to finish number 1, of course, right? But 2nd place, 3rd place, even the 4th place team hoping to sneak into the postseason as an at-large. So those Big West Upper games are massive. In the Big West Lower, King versus Murrieta Mesa. That is for 2nd place in that league. But who knows? Depending on what Great Oak does, Great Oak can win the outright title. But if for some reason Great Oak falls in the final game, that winner of King and Murrieta Mesa could earn a share of the league championship. Liberty versus Tuckwitz. Liberty trying to close out a Mountain Pass League outright championship. In that game, Beaumont versus Cajon for second place in the Citrus Belt League. They're both trailing Citrus Valley. CV is going to finish up with Yucaipa. If CV wins, they're the outright champs. Beaumont and Cajon, though, fighting for second. To the Sunkiss League, this is for an automatic playoff spot. It's a big one. Jurupa Hills versus Summit. That's for second place, assuming Eisenhower takes care of its own business against Grand Terrace coming up in week number 10. So there you go. We got some big-time, meaningful games coming up in week 10. League titles on the line, playoff spots on the line. So it's going to be a lot of fun coming up in week number 10. We're going to take, our Boost Top 25 poll as well. And here we go into week number 10. This is coming off week number 9. We want to check in real quick how it looks going into the final week of the regular season. And to be honest, the top 10, hard to figure out right now because of all the teams kind of beating one another. Centennial, of course, they've got the separation on top, but then Chaparral, Citrus Valley, Murrieta Valley, Cajon, Roosevelt, Beaumont, Vista Murrieta, Orange Vista. Remember, Vista Murrieta won by a field goal against Orange Vista earlier this season, so they're very close. And Aquinas, I would say from 2 through 10, they're all very close, and it could look a lot different in a week or two, but right now that's how it looks going into week number 10. On the other side, 11 through 25, Liberty checks in at 11, San Jacinto at 13, Rancho Verde continues to take steps up to number 14. Of course, if they beat Orange Vista, that'll change the Mustangs ranking big time. Eisenhower moves up a little bit to number 16. Yucaipa takes a little bit of a dip to number 18. They've only got 2 losses this year, and they're both really good teams, obviously, Cajon and Citrus Valley. And then you go down the list a little bit, and towards the bottom, it's tough as well. Summit, Jurupa Hills, Kaiser, Paloma Valley, Vista del Lago. If you're looking for some bubble teams, you could say Hemet's a bubble team, Tockwitz is a bubble team, Hillcrest, they are coming on strong. So there's some teams right there on the cusp of making the Boost Top 25. And again, we got big games coming up in week 10. Who's going to make deep playoff runs? These rankings could look a lot different come a week or 2 or 3 here on the Inland Sports Show. So we'll continue it as long as we got a good number of teams still alive in the CIF Southern Section playoffs. We're going to take another quick break here on the Inland Sports Show. More high school football when we come back.
Coaches, here are 3 keys to building a great speed session. Check it out. Number 1, the dynamic warm-up. This should increase tissue temperature and be specific to the movement you're doing in your session. Number 2, plyometrics. For power development, this should be done right after the dynamic warm-up when athletes are still fresh and should be consistent to the movement you're doing in your session. Number 3, mix technique with application. Your speed session should be reps, 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 followed by mechanics to reinforce good technique, then back to the reps. And remember, always emphasize quality over volume, and greater distances should have lower overall volume. Boost man.
Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. Talking a lot of high school football this week as we go into the final week of the regular season. One of these teams trying to clinch another outright league championship, this time in the Ironwood League, the Aquinas Falcons. Join us here on the show, the head coach, Jordan Brusig, working hard into the with the sun setting in the background. It's a beautiful night in San Bernardino, and you guys are getting ready for a big one against Big Bear. Coach, how big is it? How important is it for you guys to lock up another league championship this upcoming week?
Yeah, I mean, it's always an important goal every year, and you know, Ontario Christian was a great opponent. And we had to be ready, and we played a great game. So excited about having another league championship, and now focus on Big Bear.
You know, Coach, you talked about that great game that you guys put together against Ontario Christian in the previous week. You guys were up 30-zip at halftime. You win 50-30. The way you guys are playing right now, do you feel good about where this team is at? Do you feel like this team has gotten better as the season has gone along?
Yeah, I feel like, every week we were finding ways to get better. I think the O-line played their best game. The first half for the defense was outstanding. So, we're trying to always find ways to improve. But I think being able to run the football with success and play great defense is important for us to have success late in the playoffs. So, that's the focus right now.
Coach, you mentioned the offensive line. Can you talk about how they have progressed and improved over the course of the season and how important they are to the success of the football team?
Yeah, man, we go as they go. We have some great skill guys, but no matter what, the offensive line and the defense continue to run this program, and we'll continue to have success if they're dialed in and moving people around.
Coach, when you look back early in the season, you had some very tough opponents in your non-league schedule. Do you feel like, in hindsight, that was a good way to get you guys battle-tested and to see some really good competition before you get to the CIF playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, the mistakes that you make against teams like that are very glaring, and those kind of things will get you beat. So us being able to identify where we, maybe we're coming up a little bit short, we were able to do that against some really good football teams. So, we had some success. It was, limited, but, we were able to find out what we needed to improve on and where that needed to be.
Coach, the expectations at Aquinas, I feel like, are always high. You guys are routinely in championship games. Last year in the semifinals in D5. I would assume the expectation is the same, right? Win a league title and make another deep run.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to just go step by step when we get to the playoffs. There's 6 steps in the playoffs, and, all the way to the state championship. But, right now we got to focus on Big Bear, and we can't get too far ahead of them. Judging it by how we just practiced, we better get our, crap together and stay focused on week 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, and this is not a slight to Big Bear, but obviously you guys want to do some things well this week against Big Bear, just so you maybe feel good about yourselves going into the playoffs. Is that safe to say?
No, absolutely. We're trying to get better every week, no matter who the opponent is. So if we're out here waiting for the playoffs to start, what good are we putting out on film? Nothing. We have to be able to block and tackle and do all those things, no matter who the heck we're playing. And, today was an example of people not being humble and not being hungry.
Okay, finally, Coach, what's the message to maybe some of your players who maybe they haven't been around the program long enough to know that, Aquinas has won championships, they've been to championship games, at least under your leadership, you guys routinely make deep playoff runs. What's kind of the message about the legacy that you guys have built there and just the importance of keeping that going? Like, this is a team that has the talent and, an opportunity to do something special again this postseason.
Yeah, the holding everything that we do to the foundation of our program, having great faith, having a great attitude, being a person that's willing to sacrifice for your team, defending the tradition is important. And, if they don't understand that, that's how you get beat. If you're not a humble football player, how the heck could you improve? You can't. You want to make a deep run, that's great. But every single week, whether it's week 11, week 12, week 16, week 0, it doesn't matter. There's something that you want to get better at. If that's the focus and you believe in what we're doing, those things kind of take care of themselves. You get to the playoffs, everybody's good, everybody's got talent. What are the things that are going to separate you? Hopefully the tradition that we have here that was set in motion, 23 years ago, as far as I'm concerned, that is what we're defending every day we walk out on the field and put a helmet on.
As a player, as a coach, Jordan Brusig still getting it done at Aquinas. Coach, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. I was texting you like, come on, Coach, I really want to talk to you. Get on the show.
Dude, I'm so sorry. And there's the Barbie music in the background. I can't get away from the cheerleading camp. It's like I got all my kids out there, and I don't want to tell them to be quiet. So I've walked as far away as I can from them.
I appreciate it, Coach. You can bounce. I appreciate the time. Good luck this week against Big Bear. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Pep. See you, buddy.
Yes, sir. That's Jordan Brusig, the head football coach for the Aquinas Falcons here on the Inland Sports Show. Like I told you, there's a lot of big games coming up in Week 10. Some league championships still being decided. Some teams still fighting for their playoff lives. Some teams might end up as a fourth-place team and try to get an at-large bid. But you want to take care of your own business, finish in the top 3, and know that you are going to the playoffs. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Inland Sports Show. I think we covered everything. Our director behind the scenes, Johnny Nunez, is doing such a great job to keep me on task. Well, we had a lot of moving parts in this show, Johnny, so I do appreciate it, man. My name is Pep Fernandez. God bless you guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.